Britain's chief Brexit negotiator David Frost and his EU counterpart, Michel Barnier, are engaged in a head-to-head battle that will ultimately shape the UK's future outside Brussels. In an interview with Express, Gisela Stuart shed some light on the courageous Mr Frost and revealed why he has exactly what it takes to deliver a successful Brexit. Speculation is rife that the UK's deadline date to have an EU trade deal completed could be extended past December 31 due to the coronavirus crisis. However, Downing Street has constantly said there would be no change to the deadline as it is enshrined in law. The UK's chief Brexit negotiator David Frost is expected to speak with his EU counterpart Michel Barnier on Wednesday to outline a timetable for next round of trade negotiations. While the logistical challenges of conducting sensitive discussions via video conference can easily be overcome, there appears to be significant differences between the Brussels still insists on maintaining its current fishing rights in British waters and wants London to agree to a number of EU regulations, including environmental standards, workers' rights and state aid rules. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Boris Johnson is demanding the right to diverge from the bloc's rules in order to strike trade agreements around the world. As uncertainty continues, tensions are set to rise. Unearthed reports shed some light on Mr Frost, the man who will ultimately do the most to shape Britain's future outside the EU in the next couple of months. In an exclusive interview with Express.co.uk, former Labour MP and prominent Brexiteer Gisela Stuart explained why the former ambassador appears to have exactly what it takes to deliver a referring to a lecture the special advisor made at Brussels ULB University in February. Ms Stuart said, "He took quite a courageous step for someone who spent his life as a civil servant. He stepped out and gave a speech where he outlined the principles and the reasons for Brexit. I thought that was such a clear and courageous exposition as to how we can tell them we have left." Ms Stuart added, "You know, for someone who spent his entire political career as being in the background, I thought that showed great courage. It wasn't just what he said, but the fact he said it. You can tell from just looking at him and Michel Barnier, there is mutual respect between two professionals." Despite his low profile, Mr Frost's impassioned defence of Britain's decision to leave the EU also won experts and scholars around. Analysing the speech in a recent report for Reaction, George Yarrow, Oxford University professor and former head of the Regulatory Policy Institute, claimed Mr Frost exhibited a strategic coherence unmatched in previous statements by UK officials or politicians. He wrote, "The lecture starts with the politics and the causes of Brexit, making two fundamental points: we were never really in my view committed to the same goals at all, and it was always going to feel a bit unnatural to a lot of people to be governed by an organisation whose institutions seemed created by design, not by evolution." David Frost's second point, by design, not by evolution, concerns political culture rather than specific policy objectives, and it may seem odd to many. He links the thinking to the writings of Edmund Burke, but he could equally well have referenced Adam Smith or later writers in the same, evolutionary, liberal tradition such as de Tocqueville or Acton. It is a feeling or sensibility, but no less significant in its effects for that, and the argument is that its intensity differs on the two sides of the channel. These differences of purposes, culture gave rise to a relationship in which the UK never knew what we really wanted to achieve, other than stop other countries